Good evening. I'm going to try my best to talk without using the mic. If you have a problem hearing me, let me know, and I'll try to raise it up another notch. I'm Thomas Smith, candidate for sheriff here in Carter County. To give you a little bit of background on myself. I'm a lifelong resident of Carter County. Graduated Hampton High School, left here and went into the U.S. Navy, where I spent 12 years. Traveled worldwide, saw many sights, many things, done many things. Come back out of the Navy, went to ETSU for a year. Done some jobs in between there. I logged, worked for General Electric as a field service engineer, and then I decided to hire on at the Carter County Sheriff's Department in 1994. Worked there up until October of this past year, approximately 27 years. During that time, I've done a little bit of everything in the Sheriff's Department. I've been over every division. I was initially assigned, my first tour of duty was with the Drug Task Force, where I spent 3 years. Really enjoyed that, and then come back to the Sheriff's Department, where I started as a deputy on the road and worked my way up to obtaining the rank of captain before I retired. Animal control. That's been a thorn, I guess, in this county's side ever since I can remember. You've had, I guess we had probably one of the best animal control officers at one time whenever I come back on the road from the task force, and that was Sam Oliver. He done an excellent job. You could call him anytime. He worked his schedule, flexed it. Well, things have changed a lot since then. You know, the labor laws and everything that's involved, it's hard to do that now. Looking over the list that was sent out, you've asked for information on enforcement of animal neglect and cruelty laws. You've got basically 2 laws that you're going to deal with here. That's animal cruelty, I guess, and then aggravated animal cruelty. Bob Carroll made probably the best statement I've heard here tonight. The laws ain't going to change. The laws are the same no matter who the sheriff is. We're limited as a sheriff's department as far as what we can do in enforcement. It's all stated in the laws that are generated by the legislature. And with that being said, I know that there's not a lot of enforcement. Well, there's zero enforcement whenever it comes to the patrol division, because whenever you're answering 30,000 calls a year, it's pretty tough to figure in taking time to prosecute an animal cruelty case. And I'm not saying that to be mean in any way. I'm saying that it's a lower priority of a call. It's that plain and simple, folks. I spoke at the animal shelter meeting, I guess about 3 weeks ago when you had it. And as sheriff, I would be more than willing to take back on the animal control issue. But it's going to be dependent upon the county commission. They're going to have to fund the necessary slots and the equipment and the training in order to do the job correctly. It's that plain and simple. If you as a group can push them folks to fund that, I haven't got a problem taking that back on. You've got to have vehicles, you've got to have the manpower, and you've got to have the equipment to deal with the animals, as well as the training. And I don't know of any real true training, and Ms. Posada might be able to help here. I don't know of any real true training where you can send an individual and let them teach you how to deal with a wild animal, an aggressive animal, a vicious animal. You know, back in the many moons ago, you know how we dealt with that. And I don't like doing it. Don't like doing it at all. But, you know, if it comes between a vicious animal and a small child, I'm going to pick that small child every time. So, dogs at large. And it ain't just dogs. I mean, it's horses, it's cows. Of course, that's all livestock, but, you know, it's all the same. They're wandering in the streets. I think there was an accident not very long ago with a cow in a car. And it was a very serious one. But, you know, if an individual is going to accept the responsibility of taking an animal on, they need to accept the responsibility to contain it and keep it under their control. Plain and simple. It's an enforceable statute, something we can enforce. And I believe I heard Mike say, you know, you've got to use common sense with it. You know, if you go writing tickets to everybody that's dogs running loose or just happen to get out, I mean, you're going to make a lot of people mad. And, you know, you're going to get into the pocketbooks and the grocery lists of the individuals, which is going to get into the children's. So it's common sense. You deal with the individual once, twice, third time, then you do what you've got to do. You write the citation. Shooting and killing of dogs in the county. I don't agree, and of course there's a statute that says, the statute plainly says that you'll not kill another animal that don't belong to you without the owner's consent, unless it is an aggressive animal. That's a chargeable statute. Animal control, like I said, I would be more than willing to accept the animal control back as your sheriff, as long as it is funded properly. Specifically, will all officers be instructed to respond to animal neglect and cruelty, and will they all help the shelter enforce state law? Absolutely, we will instruct them to do that. I will have them do that. But once again, you're talking about 30,000 calls a year. And what priority is that call going to fall under? You know, it may take a while to get there. And generally, you know, when the officer generally gets there, if it's like a dog running at large, that dog's generally gone. You know, we can go and we can patrol the neighborhood and try to find the animal, but you know, the chances are it's going to be slim to none that'll happen. Training is a big thing, and I'm big on training. I want to be able to show our people how to do what they need to do, when they need to do it, through the training division that I've developed. And I intend to write all new policies and procedures for that department. I've heard many things about, while I've been out here, going up and down every side corner of this county, of individuals making calls and yet officers are not responding. I can't speak to that being true or not. I'm just telling you what the people are telling me. And that ain't going to happen under my administration. It's not. We get a call, we're coming. It may take a while for us to get there, but we will be there. I think we've got, talking about the animal ordinances, I think we've got a lot, as far as our state laws go, we've got enough right there on our plate to do the job that I think that you all want done. Do I think we need any more ordinances? I do not. I'm one of these less government type people, folks. The less we've got infringing on our freedoms, I think the better we are. But I do believe enforcing what's on the books right now, or whatever the legislature decides to put on the books. But to go above and beyond that in county ordinances, you're looking at creating, I think, issues in the court system that will actually overload the court system. I think I've gone down through your list of questions. Do you all have any questions for me?
Maybe I'll kick it
And
off.
you're going to have to speak up because I've got old man ears and I'm inside this. So.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I think it's a phrase, isn't it? So my question, I'll turn around so everybody can hear it. My question is, you talked about you're happy to take back on animal control.
I have what?
You're happy to take animal control back on?
Yeah.
I think you might have been there when animal control was under the current sheriff. Were you in office then?
Yes.
So would you talk a little bit about why it didn't work, why it went back to the shelter?
I'll tell you why. This is my belief in that. You were getting individuals that had absolutely zero experience going out here into the public, dealing with the public, and you placed them in a job where they're dealing with, and I don't know how often they ran across it, but vicious animals, and they had no clue on how to handle that animal. I know there was one or two, I believe, that actually got bit by vicious dogs. And they lured them into doing this job by offering them $500 extra a month to be on call. And then they found out when they were on call a lot. And it just didn't benefit them, I believe.
You know, that calls back, I feel like it takes common sense to fool with an animal. That's my
Absolutely.
personal opinion.
I agree. But a lot of people don't have common sense.
I agree.
Yes.
Mr. Smith, I've never met you.
Yes.
But I need you to correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard you really tell me what you plan to do to improve the sheriff's department when it comes to the laws on the books about animals running loose and different things. I'm hearing you're almost resigning that it can't be done.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm hearing.
No. Well, then I haven't clarified myself. Number one, the leadership, I believe, is a big thing at the sheriff's department right now. There's no direction that's being given to the officers. The officers are doing whatever they deem necessary or whatever they can do to get by at the time to get away from the cop. I stated early on that I was going to write new policies and procedures that will direct the officers that are out here in the field to enforce the laws, to answer the calls, to do the job that you as taxpayers have paid them to do. Does that answer your question?
Close.
Close.
You're headed in the right direction.
In other words, I'm going to make them do their job. That's what I'm going to do. They will do the job that we've hired them to do.
Do you have a plan in place to put more officers or more cars on the road?
Well, you ain't going to put any more cars on the road unless the county commission decides to give more funding. You've got the existing cars you've got, but do we have a way to restructure that department and put more officers on the road? Absolutely. I dealt with the budget. I know where the money's at. I know where the officers are at. So yes.
If there's training available for officers for an animal control situation, and I believe Shannon, there are, would your department pay for that training, or are you going back to the county commission for more money for that training?
like I stated, the county commission will have to fund that, those positions. And if you're talking about, are you talking about the whole department, or are you
No,
just
I'm
talking about
animal control, whoever deputies need that training.
the animal control positions would have to be funded by the commission? And then that would include the training, the equipment. The money's not in the budget to pull that back into the sheriff's department. We give all that back to the animal shelter whenever Dexter released animal control back. And by the way, folks, that wasn't very much money she got.
We didn't get it all back either.
No,
Well, I can't help you with that now. I could have. You know, I worked that budget. I know where the money's at. I know what it was spent on. And
Mr. Smith, how much money was given back to the county from the sheriff's department at the end of the fiscal year?
how much money was given back
Yes,
to,
sir. Do you have any idea
I
how
didn't,
much money the sheriff's department released back to the county commission at the end of the fiscal year?
no, I never did get this last year's figures.
It
The year
sounded
before
like
that,
quite
it
a
was
bit.
only like $67,000, I think, is what we gave year before last. But I didn't, they hadn't had time to work up those numbers prior to my retirement.
That's equivalent to about one position, would that be about right?
What, 67,000? Depends on what we hire them in at.
And then the other question I have is, when interviews are conducted with the potential deputies, is anything mentioned about their having to work with animals, do animal calls, to get an idea as to how they feel about that, or?
I was not in any position, probably the last 7.5 years to conduct any interviews.
Do you know if that has happened in the past?
No, I do not.
One of my concerns was, before it was turned over back, probably you, Mike, and you also, when the deputies were in charge of animal control. And this is not rumor, this was me standing there watching. One of the animal control officers, this man had a stray dog that he needed to get into his house.
Did he need to what?
Get into his house,
Okay.
and the animal control officer said, well, just shoot it, and then pull it out of the way and run in the house. I saw that with my own eyes, I heard it, and that's what I would like to see go away. I mean, if that's the way they're trained and that's their answer, go ahead and shoot the dog, we got big problems.
Well, and that goes back to the question of why we thought that the officers, whenever we took them on, why it failed. There was no training, zero training. They kept telling the county commission that they were going to train these people, and they did not. Yes, ma'am.
I've got two questions. The first one is, how many animal control officers do you think you would put on call?
In order to do the job correctly and have coverage 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you'd probably need 3.5 people.
And my second question is, if the program is failing, what would be your solution to making it work, other than just saying you're done with it and throwing money at it?
I really don't understand what you're asking.
I'm saying if animal control officers are not going out on call.
Are you talking about now or
Well, under this sheriff.
the current
They're
sheriff?
not going out on calls and they're getting bit, and you decide you don't want to deal with animal control officers anymore. What would you have done differently to solve that problem?
First thing I would have done was research a little bit as far as the training that I could provide, because it all really falls back to the abilities of that officer. It falls back to them. And if they have no clue how to deal with a vicious animal, they're going to get to where they don't even want to come out. But yet they're going to still want that $500 a month stipend, you know. But it's training. You've got to have the training. And you've got to have the right-minded people to deal with the animals. Um, you know, I love animals. If you go and follow me on Facebook, you know I've got a tiger about that big, and she tires me up every morning and every night. She wants to play, but you know I don't believe in intentionally killing the animal. I believe in helping any way that I can to get to the point where you all will be successful. And you know, I was listening to the meeting the other night, I guess the workshop they had, and the constant bickering over the split 70-30, 60-45. Why don't the city just give us the property, we take it over? The county take that over. I think there was a guy talked about doing some sort of a tax shelter with it. That's pretty much what that would be then. If the county would give that or the city give the property to the county, let the county assume that, and the city's out of it. You've got too many chiefs and not enough little Indians, is my opinion, with the workshop. You know, I think it's easily solved. City donate that property, we take it over. And then it falls under the realm of the county, and we can do what we need to do.
Well, how would that, you know, the city has an ordinance where they have to have a shelter.
They can put them one somewhere else. They can do one they can be independent from us. We're the county. You know, and the city falls in the county. So
That's not,
With that being said, if
they can go back and change that ordinance at any time.
that being said, if the county commission just wants to give 65%, whatever it is, and the city doesn't give anything, do you think the county's capable of running the shelter by themselves?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah. Ms. Posada, you able to run that shelter?
Without,
I sure hope so.
without any money off from the city?
I'm not talking about any money now. Now I'm talking about the county funding it.
Well, see, the city,
If it falls under the realm of the county, you take the city out of that equation, the fighting stops.
well, the city, people can still bring their animals to their county shelter. You realize that?
That's up to Ms. Posada at that point. I think that'd be up to county policy at that point.
The city pays city and county taxes.
Yeah,
So the city residents belong, the shelter actually belongs to them, so if they got a problem in the city, they can take it over.
and they're paying $4.75 just like you and I are that live down in the county, aren't they?
I believe if you listen to that the other night, we're paying about $15.
Well, I'm talking about county tax.
Oh, yeah, $4.75.
$4.75 a piece. Each one of us paying $4.75 a piece.
we'll be paying more than that though, the city.
And that's fine. How much more would it be? You take 60,000 or 57,000 people, however many properties are out there, how much would it be?
Well,
I can guarantee you it ain't gonna be no $10.83 or whatever it was.
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, but I don't believe you're doing yourself any good by talking to us. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm giving you my honest opinions, partner. That's all I can do.
I appreciate that, I really do. Because now I know where you come from.
10-4. Any other questions?
That's not really a question, it's kind of, I guess, maybe a statement. Earlier you said something about, sometimes animal control is down here and other things are up here.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of useless knowledge in my head. And so part of this is, I believe it was 90% of all serial killers start with animals. They abuse and do that same thing with child abusers and spousal abuse. It's around 75% of all abusers start out abusing their pets.
They
So
do.
it kind of puts it at a, higher level in my eyes, than I think that you kind of stated.
Well, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Comm Center has to prioritize calls. They do because of the amount that they receive on a daily, hourly, minute basis. And what I was referring to is the animal control calls come in down here, burglary up here. Okay, that's what I'm referring to. I'm not putting it at any lower level. I'm just saying that the priority for answering that call is gonna be lower. It's not gonna take any less insignificance as far as what's gonna happen when they get there, but it has to come down,
Go here first.
you know.
I understand.
Okay,
You said there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yep.
Basically. How would you, as sheriff, meet with the city and help smooth this over? Because we all need to work together to get this thing solved. You know, we can't just say, there's too many chiefs. You know, we can't just throw it in the back of our mind. You know, we gotta work together. So how would you approach the city, police department, the city council, county commission, the whole group as one, and and ask everybody to work together? What would be your plan?
well, as sheriff, I don't know, you're
You be a
looking,
spokesman.
huh?
You can be a spokesman.
That's what your mayor should be doing.
Well, no, that's what everybody should be doing, working together.
No, the thing about, working together, yes, we do. There's no doubt about it, and that's what I was saying, and really meant by too many chiefs and not enough little Indians. You've got the city that's got, what, 2, 3 people on that board, and 3 county people, and it's 3 and 3. You know, there's no compromise there, there's no way to attain compromise. But as far as myself going in, you know, all I can do is come in and give you my opinion. You know, here's what I think might work, and I'll do my best to help you.
Okay, but what I was getting from what you said, you push it to the side,
Push what to the side?
the whole issue, that, like Mr. Vine was saying, you sort of push it to the side, because there's no way to solve it.
There's always a way to solve.
But we have to work together.
There's always a way to solve, but you've got to have compromise to attain that. And there's no, right now, there's no compromise.
What would you bring to the table?
Well, the only thing I can bring is my opinion and tell you, just like I said tonight, I think the city donate the property to the county and the county assume. You know, and that would be my solution. I think bickering over a 60-30 split or 60-35 or whatever, I mean, it's something we have to have. We have to have it. So let's just do what needs to be done, and let's put it in place, and let's make it work.
Okay, if there's no more questions about animal laws and Tom's views on that, we're going to wrap up here. We've got nothing else burning away here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate